Hello, I'm Ginny Taylor Rosner, an artist, educator, and arts administrator. I work in a variety of media, including photography, printmaking, and book arts. I wish to share with you today a project called Landscapes of Memory, which I began 35 years ago. I use analog and digital cameras. I create images of the Indiana landscape along I-65 from the Indianapolis area to the Chicago area while I visited my family. All photographs are captured in camera and printed without digital manipulation. So what you see is what you get in camera. I am fascinated by the compositional and poetic narratives and qualities that are communicated within these images. The experiential nature of the landscape serves as a marker of time, memories, and feelings. Roads signify the connections that transform and nourish personal relationships. Developed or unpaved, these roads lead us together as well as apart, while we experience the joys and losses of relationships. Any road we travel becomes an umbilical cord from the past to the present. Our memories of our landscape intertwine to produce an affinity with our surroundings and provide connections to others when we are separated. My work explores how the landscape and the roads we travel initiate memories and serve as metaphor to gain a greater understanding of our sense of identity and place. These images taken from my car window were a document of the places observed along this road. As the years have gone by, the photographs have transformed from just a chronicle to becoming hallmarks of time and relationships, where metaphors and archetypes are born. We intrinsically connect with the landscape as we journey across and move through these places. These engaged spaces become interlocked in our mind with memory. In his work, Landscape and Memory, Simon Schama asserts, before it can ever be a repose for the senses, landscape is the work of the mind. Its scenery is built up as much from strata of memory as from layers of rock. Our memories and personal experiences affect how we glean meaning from newly encountered places or ascribe meaning to familiar ones. Using the metaphor of the landscape as memory, I create from an interpretation of experiences and recollections. The works I produce are symbolically autobiographical, as this particular road is an umbilical cord to my family. When you have close ties, moving a few hours away feels comparable to moving across the country. Over the years, life's demands impact the opportunities to gather, making each drive and visit more precious. The journey home becomes an occasion to reflect upon what is important. The images I capture are a documentation marking time and place, both the prominent and the inconspicuous, evolving into memory triggers of the transient nature of these environments, lives, and relationships. Traveling with my parents through the Chicago, Northwest Indiana, and Western Michigan landscapes developed my early connections to the land. I acquired a fondness for landscapes dominated by wind turbines, power pylons, factories, and dwellings, whose forms hearken to this industrial architecture. Even now, the interaction of man-made environments with the natural world seizes my attention and brings to mind structures, atmosphere, and color palette of the industrial and prairie landscapes of my childhood travels. The assembled memories and connections to these objects and sites have become part of my identity, creating an emotional relationship binding me to this landscape and home. Some underlying symbols within my work are presented in photographs depicting a flock of birds flying through a fog and snow-covered farmland. For me, the atmosphere in these images imitates the fog coming off Lake Michigan, the haze of the city, or the snowy winters experienced as a youth. The wind turbines and electrical towers reach into the blue sky like the many electrical poles and towers dotted across the industrial landscape that I appreciated so much during my frequent errands with my parents. The turbines are symbolic of sentinels who stand strong against the storms. They are visual reminders of who my father was to me. He is gone now, and these remain as witnesses to my grief and stewards for my memories. The birds are captured in motion and blurred additionally by the long exposure, creating ephemeral marks that imply fleeting moments or reminiscences. Birds represent hope, freedom, and a sense of community, yet they also symbolize loss and the fragility of life. Metaphorically, The Flight of Birds expresses the journey and hope I experience as I recall relationships and my sense of home. Each object is a part of my visual language and has a personal value that yet can be read culturally. Whether fertile or barren, serene or sublime, depictions of the landscape capture an artist's subjectivity just as much as they do the world around us.